one of the most important things in Black Clover Mobile are known as talents. Now, these talents are very, very important into making all your characters as strong as they possibly can. So, exactly what are talents? Well, talents are something that every character has in, individual, and basically they are a way of making your character stronger, giving them more stats, different sort of passives, etc. So, once you've, leveled up your characters to a certain point, you will unlock this feature right here, which is the talents. So, if we quickly go into it, you'll see that you're greeted with 3 talent wheels, all ranging from 3 different, roles, I guess you could say, and also, 3 different colors, so you can see a lot nicer. So the first one is being, more to do with offensive talents. Now, these talents will offer things like, increased damage to bosses, attack increases, magic attack increases, crit damage increases, just flat damage increases, etc. Then onto the blue one, which is, the more defender, your more tanky sort of talents that you can give to your characters, which will, give you stuff like defense increases, crit resistance increases, HP increases, blocking debuffs, and, more as well. Then onto the green one, which is more of, like a supportive, kind of thing, where you'll be able to increase your character's blocking, the amount of special points they gain, their accuracy, penetration, like having a 20% chance to, reduce skill 2, your skill 2's cooldown, etc. So then also the way you select which talents you can use, because for each, role, offensive, supportive, defensive, you can only have 2 of, the 6 talents you can unlock active at the same time. So the way you do this is by you turn this wheel here by clicking the arrows, or you can just drag it with your finger or your mouse, wherever you're, depending on what platform you're playing on. And basically, whichever 2 skills are in these 2 hexagons right here depends on which skills you're currently using. So I'm currently using one skill that gives my Leopold 2.5% extra crit chance for every wave that you start. So more of just a PvE one, nothing too great. And then this one, which is going to give my Leopolds an extra 7% magic attack. And then as you can see, once you've also unlocked every talent in the wheel, you will unlock this middle one here, which you can place this sort of augment stone, I'm going to call it, where you can then give your character extra bonus stats, depending on which role you're augmenting it, I guess. So for the attackers, I can increase like my character's crit damage, their accuracy, or their attack and magic attack. And then obviously for all the other roles, you'll be able to increase your defenses, your like crit resistance, your speed, I think, as well, and stuff like that. So yeah, you got quite a lot of extra bonus stats to get from that in order to make your characters a lot stronger. So now on to exactly what talents that you should be giving all your characters and stuff like that, for their own specific roles, because for classes like your defender classes, your debuffer supporters, you might want to give certain different ones, so I guess let's go. So the first thing that you want to look at for, well, I guess your especially your attackers, your debuffers, etc., and also just all your characters in general, you want to look for what their highest offensive stat is. So for example, my Leopold here has 15,500 magic attack and only has 4,869 regular attack. So as I said before, in the offensive talent tree, not only can you increase your magic attack, but you can also increase your regular attack as well. So basically, if I were to say, have the attack and regular damage increase, I would be doing, funny enough, actually lower amounts of damage, even though I have, a lot more damage increasing talents. Now, this is obviously because, 7% of 15,000 is going to grant you a much larger increase in damage to 7% of like 4,000, so you want to make sure that, you're looking at what is the highest offensive stat all your characters have, and then you want to make sure you give them the either magic attack increase or attack increase based off of that. Then I guess, when it comes to pairing it with, whatever you want, the other talent, especially for the offensive one, doesn't necessarily matter. It's not really anything too crazy, because, this crit rate one is great for PvE, but for PvP it's pretty useless, so it doesn't really matter really what other one you go with. If you're going for attack, you could just go for the flat damage increase if you wanted, just so you can, just get more damage. But yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, pretty much fair for the offensive, talent tree for literally every single character in the game. You want to make sure that you're catering towards that, and obviously, there are going to be some, individual circumstances, where, it might be a little bit different. For example, the brand new Licks that came out, he literally gives himself crit rate on every single skill he has. So for people like Licked or whatever, that are based around critting, you might want to look at giving him, that 10% crit damage talent, paired up with the 5% regular damage talent, just so his damage can, you know, be through the roof, but his CC might also be lowered because of that, so just keep that in mind. Then also on to, you know, all the supportive talents for, you know, all the characters and classes or whatever, because, I mean, you know, I feel like the offensive ones, you know, are pretty, you know, universal. There's nothing really specific to each role, apart from, like I said before, certain characters like Licht. Now, for the supportive role, again, this also, you know, there's going to be a few niche cases or whatever where you might want to change, you know, what talents you have, etc. But overall, for, you know, classes like defenders, I would really recommend you have, you know, like the 5% increase, the 10% increased blocking that you can get, because it's just going to, you know, provide you with, you know, a lot more consistent tankiness, as, you know, blocking is actually a really good way of, you know, decreasing damage that you take. So if you're running like Mars, or, you know, the SR Aster or Sol in PvE and stuff like that, then I would really recommend that you get that. Then for a lot of your, you know, offensive characters, your attackers and whatnot, you also might want to consider going for the skill 2 or the special point reduction that you can also get, which is also really handy, because having a 20% chance to reduce your skill 2 cooldown by 1 turn it could be really handy, and it could make the difference of you know, being in stage or not. And obviously, you know, you can't pair all these talents together, because, you know, they have to be right next to each other on the wheel. So, you know, these things, you can't, like, pair them all together to make the best possible combo, because, you know, which would be nice, but, you know, it's just not possible. Another one that you might really want to look at is also this one, which blocks debuffs for 1 turn when, you know, blocking is very successful. As, you know, this, you know, you'll surprisingly block, you know, quite a lot of debuffs from, you know, a lot of characters' attacks in PvE and PvP, etc. So you can pair this up with accuracy and penetration as well, which is this one right here, which you can then use to, you know, help you, you know, do a little bit more damage and, you know, ignore their endurance stat and whatnot, and also, you know, you can make it so that your attacks aren't getting blocked as much. Then onto, you know, one of the more, you know, niche cases of, you know, the supportive, you know, talents, I guess, is like, you know, with characters like Blue Yami, you know, who realistically is built around having a lot of, you know, special points, and also removing a lot of character special points from the enemy. So I feel like, you know, this talent right here, where you can get 1 extra special point per turn, depending on if you have 2 or less special points, you know, it could also be really handy as well. Then on to the defensive ones. Now, I mean, this one, none of these are really too great. There's not really, you know, much else that you want to look at. This one right here is when you have 35% of your health, you can block debuffs. It is what it is, but you're just going to get one-shotted by that point anyway, so it's not really that useful. I think really realistically, that all the talents that you're going to want to go for are the 20% defense increase and the 4% defense and 2% crit resistance increase for every wave that you start, because for PvE, these 2 talents are very good and can make your tanks, and literally anybody else a lot more tankier, because you'll be surprised how much tankier your characters will be after filling out all these talents, and also, you know, how much stronger they'll be when also, you know, filling out all the stuff like offensive talents. And then obviously, you know, you might have seen, you know, a lot of these talents, you know, require, you know, for you to farm materials for them in order for you to unlock them. So in order for you to unlock them, you usually need to come to your regular challenges where you can farm, or regular stages where you can farm XP, gear, etc. And you want to go to this very bottom one in the bottom left here, which is where you'll be able to find all of the talent flourish seeds all the way from red to blue to green, and then you can just farm them. The highest CC stage is 200,000, which, I mean, you're not really going to get there for a very long time, which is, you know, it is what it is. But once you do get to that point, you'll be able to farm these stones right here, which you know, will help you give you a load of bonus stats. So yeah, that is pretty much it for talents. I mean, overall, you know, it's all pretty self-explanatory. You know, for the offensive ones, you just want to make sure that you look at what their highest offensive stat and increase that highest offensive stat as much as you possibly can to get the most possible damage out of that character. For the defensive ones, they're all pretty bad, to be honest, so you just want to get any form of defense increase or anything that'll make you as tanky as you possibly can be, as, you know, you'll be very surprised as to how much it can actually help you. And then for the supportive ones, they're a lot more niche. I think the debuff one, the blocking of debuff one, is actually really helpful, especially it has been very helpful for me, because my Leopold has been, you know, immune to a lot of debuffs when in arena, just so yeah, I think, you know, stuff like that could be really helpful. I think the special point one is really good. The accuracy and penetration one is also okay, but yeah, apart from that, you know, the rest are really whatever. But yeah, that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the guide, whether it was bad, good, or whatever. I'll be reading them all, and yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.